You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Gene Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AFTERBUZZ TV's Surviving Jack After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Surviving Jack After Show.
Well, there's the music. We will never hear that music again. Adrian,
No.
you know, today was not supposed to be the series finale of Surviving Jack, but just a few days ago, actually yesterday, the news hit that Surviving Jack was canceled.
Yeah.
And also today's episode 7, Parents Just Don't Understand, was the last episode ever. So, I mean, for all of you Surviving Jack fans out there, I hope you enjoyed that nice little intro. We will miss it too. Anyway, I know, intros though. Anyway, my name is Monis Rose, and to my left is the only Snow cooler than Jon Snow, and that's Adrian Snow. I finally had to give a shout out to that.
Do it.
Yeah.
I finally started watching it. So.
Absolutely. But you are
understand.
absolutely cooler, like I said, than the Jon Snow. You make
you.
the snows. I'm telling you right there, if that made any sense at all.
No, I mean, Adrian Snow's been around a lot longer than Jon Snow. So.
Absolutely. And then also behind the camera, we have Marissa Serafini. Want to give big ups to her.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Hello.
She has been making this possible, and we have neglected to thank her, so we want to thank her wholeheartedly. So thank you very mumuch, Marissa, for doing that and everything you do.
Thank you.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So anyway, pretty disappointed with this news of the cancellation of Surviving Jack, but you know, you can't, I guess some shows had to go. It wasn't the only one to go. I think it was also Dads went off the air,
Dads went
and
as well.
also Enlisted.
Enlisted.
So anyway, at least it wasn't the only one. But I have to say, you know, of all episodes to go out on, I mean, this was a pretty good episode to go out on.
Yeah, it's a stronger episode, definitely.
It was the strongest. It actually had the most heart, I would say. It was the most grounded and real. It dealt with the most issues, or, you know, my prediction was it was going to be a special episode, and towards the end, and we will talk about it a little bit later, it was a special episode. It got, you know, in the Surviving Jack world, it got dark, or it got deep.
Yes, everyone was dealing with much more adult and serious problems or situations in a way, as much as you kind of experience those first time adult situations as a teenager. So
Absolutely.
yeah, more dark.
And let's get with those situations. The first situation we have, the A story, is the Frankie story. Now Frankie, he you know, throughout this whole, you know, series, throughout the whole season, you know, we've kind of jumped back and forth in this high school year, but now he's on the baseball team.
Yeah.
So he's made the baseball team from the beginning of the season, and he gets invited to an upperclassman party.
Yeah, he gets invited to a varsity baseball
Where there's
party.
just gonna be bros, man.
Just
bros. What kind of? First of all, never.
Never.
If a dude said, "Oh, Monis, there's just gonna be bros at this party," no.
I guess there's a chance parties like that were thrown in high school, and I was not aware of them. I don't know. I wasn't on like a varsity team or anything, but I've never heard of any athletes in high school being like, "We're having a party, and it's just going to be us guys," ever. So
Yeah,
that was a bit of a
that's-
stretch, but you know, it might have actually happened. It's all supposed to be based on Justin Halpern's life, so you never know.
Then yes, his world was a different world than what I
Yes.
lived in. Then I mean, that I was just said, if I heard those rules, or if I got a flyer, if I was on varsity teams, if any one of my teammates ever said there was a party, and first of all, they either said there was only dudes, there was only going to be dudes, or when I actually went, There was no women. Boom, bounce. This is lame.
Yeah. Well, I think that, popularity is also so important and factors into the kind of experience you're going to have in high school, that for them to be invited, period, was just enough for them to say, okay, we're going to go, even if it is just an all-boys party.
Right. So anyway, they're invited to this party, and immediately they think drinking. There's going to be a keg. There's going to be a keg stand. We're going to do some beer pong. We're going to, we're going to drink and drink and drink. So they practice drinking. They practice drinking with apple juice.
Yes.
Yes.
A beer bong.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, a beer bong with apple juice. And their parents catch them, or Frankie's parents, I mean. And this is with Frankie and then his friends, George and Mike. And anyway, and the Jack sees this and warns, harasses, death threats, does it all to these kids, including his son. If they drink, all hell will break loose. And yes,
I think at one point he said, "Hell will rain down on you."
Oh yes, yes, exactly.
He was quite serious
and
about
his
it.
Bug eyes breaking out of his actual sockets. So, do they even listen to Jack?
Not.
Of course not. So they go to the party, and for maybe like a blink of an eye, that little, Jack voice is saying, "Oh, we're going to listen to our dad, or we're going to listen to Jack," and then immediately just shuts down, let's drink, and they are drinking.
But they were really the only kids who were drinking that much. Everyone else around them seemed to be okay and chill, and there wasn't like anyone running around like with their shirt off or anything like that. So it was interesting to see them kind of end up being the dunces simply because they were the young ones who had no experience, and nobody tried to guide them or tell them, oh, okay, maybe you should get back.
You're right, and there wasn't any really peer pressure at this party whatsoever. No. Being like, "Oh, Frankie, let's do a kegger," or "We're gonna play."
It was the most chill high school party I've ever seen, and
it was pretty. And for a baseball varsity party, it was really square. I'm just gonna lie.
There was no beer bong. I mean, even I did a beer bong. I failed miserably, but
oh, okay.
It was.
What about shotgun? Did you ever shotgun a beer?
No, I was. That
Didn't
seemed like
do
a
the
bad
redneck?
idea.
Okay.
No, I'm from Texas. I could have definitely have done it,
right.
but it didn't seem like a good idea. So I didn't do it.
So anyway, you're right. So they are they're the virgins in drinking, and they stand out like a sore thumb. Yeah. And they get kicked out of this party. They get kicked out because, between Frankie, Mike, and George, they all alcohol has a different reaction with them. And I'm not talking like an allergic reaction, excuse me. I'm talking about what happens in their mind. So Frankie is more chill, George dances, and Mike has some anger issues, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So they get thrown out of this party, and then they're just trying to develop a plan of how to now hide from Jack, or how, they just don't want to get in trouble. But does that work? Are they unscathed throughout this whole thing?
Obviously not. I mean, it wouldn't be Surviving Jack if they didn't have to survive him. But I will say that most people, when they're drunk, do think that they can hide it. And especially when you're young, you think, okay, I've got this. Nobody's going to be able to tell I'm drunk. So it was cute to kind of see them make an attempt at walking in and being sober and just getting up to the room and failing miserably. But
absolutely.
But he wasn't as hard on them as I thought he was going to be.
Oh yeah, what'd you think was going to happen?
I don't know. He's done so much to them, like waking them up at like 4 o'clock in the morning and hosing them when they were. This is from like I think episode 2 when they were trying to get on the baseball team.
Right.
And so he's done so many various things that I thought were a lot more extreme than what he ended up doing.
For whatever reason, maybe I feel Jack actually related to this one for the first time, because there was mention that he started drinking at an early age. Of course, his reasoning was that he was in the Navy, which is a much better reason. Yeah. But I for whatever reason, and also Jack was going through, not a fight, just a disagreement with Joanne, his wife. So maybe he had some other issues to think about. But you're right, and it was more amicable than past episodes that we watched. And everything, you know, pretty much, you know, they were grounded. You know, everyone was grounded, and I mean, the 3 guys, they had to clean up the basement, I believe.
I think, yeah,
it was like
garage or
the
something.
garage, the
Yeah.
basement, scoop up a dead raccoon, and then
They weren't allowed to leave the premises.
yeah, and it ends with Jack shooting his son and Mike, and we didn't see George with a baseball launcher.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, you know, and that's phrase. So, you know, also this episode we had a deal. Another deep issue was with Rachel. So what was going on with Rachel's world? in
She
Rachel's
wanted to
world?
get on birth control,
She wanted to get on birth control.
which is actually a very smart thing for, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but a very smart thing for a teenager
Hey.
to ask their parents if they're thinking about becoming sexually active. So I had actually a lot of respect for her for even, you know, being willing to approach her mother on that topic.
You're going to get in trouble. There's no punishment here. This is not.
I'm from the South.
Oh, you're from the South. No, it is. That's a very, you know, she was very, for being either a junior or senior in
Yeah.
high school, you know, yeah, that was a very mature thing, you know, at least on her part, you know, we never heard Rachel saying, oh, she's going to make sure that the guy wears, you know, a condom, but at least on her part, she's protecting herself.
Yeah.
So that was very mature. She just says,
was.
you know, for being the ditz at the beginning of the series, or, you know, people thinking, no, I mean, she wasn't just, oh, I'm horny and I'm like this valley girl and I'm going to, yes, it wasn't that. It's like, all right, I'm going to take sex seriously. Even if I want it, I'm actually going to take it seriously.
Yeah, she was really smart about it. So, but I mean, her mother had the appropriate reaction,
Which was
freaking out. So,
was freaking out.
yes, to not really know why she needed to have sex at that age, or you know.
Well, I really, you know, I'm okay with, see, if I was in Joanne's shoes, I would be totally fine with her having sex at that young, you know, and her up, but I would not be fine with the guy she was doing it with. I've always
You
said
just
this.
don't like Doug.
I do not like Doug.
Yeah.
Doug is a little too, he does not, they don't seem to have chemistry is all. They just don't seem to have just does not seem to be Doug is just square, okay? He's not even too hip to be square. Doug is just really, really square. Too square for Rachel. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, I think they might have developed him more if they had had more time. You know, maybe
You're right. You're right.
next season.
So anyway, you know, Joanne and Rachel, they have this, of course, disagreements. Joanne wants to be a hawk on them on their nice little Saturday night date to popcorn. But then what happens is they escape, and Joanne flips out in Joanne's own world.
Goes chasing after them.
Goes chasing after them. Exactly. Asks the neighborhood teenagers who love to get high, you know, just where
The potheads.
the potheads of the neighborhood. Absolutely. I guess every neighborhood has to have the potheads. I don't.
They?
My neighborhood didn't.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, and so anyway, though, Rachel goes home on her own accord. Nothing happens, and everything is good.
Yeah. Did they, because I don't know if I heard it, did they explain why they left, or were they going to attempt it? Because they came back. They came back and were sitting on the couch with popcorn like an hour later.
I believe they were, and for whatever reason, you're right. I believe they were going to, but I don't know if it was going to be car. You know, I don't know, or something during the road on the road trip. I'm just saying, wherever. But yeah, she just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
You know, maybe also in Rachel's mind, maybe she's a romantic at heart and she wants that first time to be the moment. Like she wants the music and the doves and the. I'm thinking.
It's not like that. I mean, let's be real. If we're going to talk about your first time,
Oh.
it's overblown.
I'm just saying. Actually, I don't know. I'm gonna disagree. I'm
Did
just
you have
saying.
doves playing in the little, you know,
I had
prints?
rainbows, man.
Okay.
Rainbows and
Doves
shooting
flying.
stars. I'm telling you.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
So anyway, but yeah, and then let's the meat and potatoes episode actually was with Mike, the friend, you know.
Yeah.
That was really the heartstrings of this episode. Wasn't with Rachel or Frankie, and you know, Frankie really spent more time with George and Mike this time, and we got to know a little bit about Mike and his anger, and you know, always of why he always appears to be this big jughead, and you know, he has these problems, and that his dad moved out, and I'm sure, and this was heartbreaking news, at least to Frankie, because Frankie, I'm sure, lives in his quixotic ideological world, that, you know, he lives in this beautiful, happy family, pretty much, you know. I mean, yes, he has a raging dad, but he's not abusive. I mean, he's kind of humorous in his ways.
And he's there, you know.
Right.
I think at the end when when Frankie goes over to Jack and Joanne and tells them that he loves them, he's very much aware of the fact that they are there. No matter how much they might argue or how much Jack might torture him, he's still there and supportive, and, you know, we'll sit down and talk to Frankie when he needs him to. Whereas Mike, you know, his dad has just decided to go, and I guess this is a common occurrence with Mike's dad, and now he may not be coming back. So yeah, it would have been nice to have seen the next episode to see like how Mike deals with living under the roof of Frankie and Jack and Joanne.
Absolutely.
And Rachel.
Like I remember in the first season of the Wonder Years, and they discussed like Winnie's Kevin Arnold's big crush in the Wonder Years of like that was just always a shocker, even to Kevin Arnold's world, of when Winnie's parents were like at least getting a divorce. Like they talked about like, divorce during that first season. Yeah, and when like in Frankie, he's living in this kind of in a really in a way a perfect world, yes, and then seeing, oh man, this is, you know, crap's getting real. You know, this is getting real, and it's hitting home with me because these are my best friends. Yeah. So anyway, but other than that, you know, Frankie, though, he's a good friend, though, because he lets, instead of really talking feelings out and having this full house moment, Frankie does a mature thing and in a way says, hey, you can sleep over, spend the night, and I'm sure in Frankie's mind, Mike can sleep over all the time.
Yeah.
So I feel, you know, I think the winner is Frankie here.
Yeah, I think he'd be the winner, definitely.
Absolutely.
Especially after Mike punched him in the face and they got into a fight. And
no, that was a good punch, though.
That was a good punch.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a decent fight.
Absolutely. So now, I feel this was I actually feel this was the best episode of the series, the entire series. I feel, you know, there was a steady incline. Now, we really cannot predict what's going to happen next week, but what if, you know, there was 1,100,000 episodes, Adrian? Can we let's do a prediction just for the heck of it,
like,
you know,
what happens in the end?
What happens? Just
Chris Maloney turns into William Shatner and goes on to CBS to do Shit My Dad Says by Justin Halpern.
Whoa.
Because it's true.
Whoa. Mine, like a scene with George. Mine, very good. I have to say, I still want to stick with this Surviving Jack world. I just can't segue into the...
I know.
Yeah.
Well, then, if it's just...
Dead air, come on.
I know. I hummed.
You hum. All right.
I don't know, you decide. You guess. That's my
this is it.
prediction.
I feel, you know... Nothing really changes. Actually, you know what's going to really change is in 1992 and then leading up to 93 with the riots in LA.
In LA.
Yes, you know, this is all taking place in LA, so crap's about to go down on the streets of LA and especially Koreatown and Sunset Boulevard.
Well, it's probably for the best then that they didn't make it to 1992.
And then the Northridge earthquake as well.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we have
that would have been some very special episodes.
So the Surviving Jack will be turning into a disaster show on Sci-Fi.
Oh, no.
So,
cool.
Anyway, Adrian Snow, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Miss Adrian Snow.
Awesome, and Marissa back there, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at Serafini TV.
Excellent. And guys out there, my name is Monis Rose. You can find me on Twitter at Rest Fiction. That stands for my website blog, restaurantfiction.com. I'm Monis Rose. This is Adrian Snow to my left. Back there is Marissa Serafini. We want to really appreciate you tuning in to the Surviving Jack AfterBuzz podcast.
Yes.
Keep it real, keep it fresh, and always keep it on the flip side.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you
Buzz you
later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.